Hi again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Around the Town with Chuck. My name is Chuck Guglielmo, and it's a weekly interview show where we talk with interesting people. And today we have Tim Tallbacka, a guy normally we would talk to during basketball season, but I took him out of his summer vacation, and he was so graciously accepted to come on. Thanks for doing so.
I'm not sure if I qualify as interesting, but...
You're a very interesting person. What I'd like to talk to you today about, Tim, in the middle of July here, is Open Gym, something that has been going on, I understand, for 7 years. Also, I'd like to talk a little bit about basketball, your team coming up in the new league, and then mostly about the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's start with this Open Gym. I understand that it's going to be starting its 7th year.
Yes.
And since I know you've been here longer than 7 years, so you probably started the Open Gym.
Yeah, it's a fundraiser we have called the Marathon Open Gym. We do open gyms for the players on a regular basis from April right through the end of July. We were looking for a new creative way to try to make some money in the summertime, just kind of make ends meet for our bench club, which is the basketball booster organization. And there's organizations in Conneaut that sell submarine sandwiches, they sell discount cards, they sell T-shirts, everything else. And some of those things we kind of like, well, we always have good attendance at open gyms. We thought, let's just play basketball for as long as we can and charge people admission and just have kind of a fun thing. And it's really grown itself the last 7 years. And
this is for current Conneaut High School Spartan basketball players and past.
Alumni, anybody that wants to play. Matter of fact, we scrimmaged Edgewood last night in basketball. I invited a few of their players to come over, so we'll see. Normally we've had anywhere from 25 to 40, 45 players, and we just see how long we can go for it. We're starting at 6 o'clock Friday. I wrote down till 10 on the advertisement. I don't know if we'll make it quite that far. That's a long time to play basketball, but it's kind of a fun thing to, it sort of caps off our summer season. We still have a couple weeks left after that, but again, it's just an idea that we came up with 7 years ago, and it's been a good thing for us to kind of make ends meet.
Now, when we say current basketball players, we're talking from 9th grade up?
Yes. We tried a few years to do the younger kids. It's really tough to get kids at the younger levels into the gym this time of year. We have a camp. We have a very well-attended camp. The first week school's out. But I just found over the years, it's been a tough thing to have the younger kids come in and try to play. So we're just having it this year for 9th grade and up.
Mm-hmm. What made you think about this 7 years ago?
I'm trying to think. I believe it was myself, Coach Johnson, and a couple other guys that they come to open gyms on a regular basis. We were just trying to think of a way to try to make some money. And I hate to step on other groups' toes because, like I said, there's a couple groups that do things like selling submarine sandwiches and whatnot. And just trying to find something unique, some way to maybe and honestly, it only takes one night. Sometimes I know Coach Rock is chasing these kids around for their Spartan cards, which is a good moneymaker for the football program. But it takes time to do that. We wanted just to find a way to. We figured we were a couple $100 away from making our budget each year. We just thought if this is an easy way to do that, we would be able to. And actually, I want to thank somebody, if I could, right off the bat.
Sure.
The Conneaut Fraternal Order of Police made a donation to the Open Gym a couple weeks ago. I talked to Joe Shore down there.
That's
great. We're already $300 ahead.
Mm-hmm. That's
fantastic.
Great. Now, each participant is going to pay $5.
Yes.
And I understand that parents and friends can also attend for $2.
Yes. We haven't had a real big crowd in the past. I just asked a donation if anybody wants to come in and watch. There's been some years we've had 15, 20 people come and watch, and some parents come in, but we just try to make ends meet with that.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you answered this earlier, I'm not sure, but the alumni that come in, do you usually get quite a few alumni?
Yes, we have alumni on a regular basis that come in and play with our kids. I think it's good. I have some good guys that are, some are recent graduates, some are a little older, that come in and play basketball with the kids. I think seeing positive role models in the community is great for these high school kids, and plus it provides some sort of competition with guys who are older and grown up, that sort of thing. And so those guys all like to come in and play. There's a few here and there that come in from out of town, so it depends year to year.
Well, very good. And like I say, this is the 7th year that Tim Tallbacka has started that, and it seems like it's going to be quite successful.
Hopefully, yes.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about your team coming up. I know we're less than 5 months away, but the way the months go by so quickly, it'll be here before we know it.
Yes.
You're going to go into a new league.
Yes.
What do you know about this new league as of right now?
I'm somewhat familiar with the basketball part of it. I understand if the public knows this, but there's different leagues for different sports. Like our league for basketball is a 9-team league, including us. That is different. There's some different teams compared to the league the football team plays in, or the volleyball team, or wrestling.
Yeah, I did not know.
Yeah, it varies. Matter of fact, like our girls softball team is in a league of teams that are down near Sharon, Pennsylvania. I'm not sure exactly how they do that sort of thing, but it varies from sport to sport. And so our league, I'm fortunate, I've seen almost everybody in our league play. We go to Penn State Barron for a summer shootout every year. We've also gone to Gannon for some summer tournaments. We played, I think, 4 games against Pennsylvania teams in the last couple of years. So I'm kind of familiar with the scene over there. Highly competitive. Girard, Pennsylvania, Fairview, Pennsylvania are very strong basketball schools, as is Mercier's Prep High School, which is over there in Erie. So we'll certainly have our hands full, but it'd be nice to be in the league and be able to provide that motivation for our players.
And develop some new rivalries.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Looking a little back at last year's team, now you're going to lose 3 players that I know of, Myers, Barrickman, and Gertis.
Yes, yes.
They will be hard to replace. But watching the team play last year from about the middle of the season to late, you got a sharpshooter there coming up from the JV team. Name escapes me, the Dairy Queen boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks like he could be the Dunleavy that's coming into the Conrad Spartans.
Hopefully he grows to be 6'9". If that's going to happen. But yeah, we return 4 seniors. I like our junior class a lot. Jacob Schreiber. There's a few others. Spencer Schwartzfigger is a soccer player. Nathan Squera, Nathan Lauer are all guys who we're going to depend upon heavily this year as juniors. Nathan Pape unfortunately had a knee injury. We were playing at Lake Erie College in a shootout, and he'd also be in that mix. I'm not sure if he'll be back in time for basketball this year, but those guys are solid players. Eric Hines is our returning scorer, leading returning scorer. He started last year. Adam Leighton, better known as a tennis player, is also
Player of the Year in tennis.
Absolutely, very
Congratulations
very nice job
to him.
on his part. Yeah, he's returning. Austin Dale was a kid who played a lot towards the end of the season. Really came on. He's our tallest player. Really improved as the season went. Looking for big things out of him. And then TJ Bertolazio also was a senior who played some varsity last year as well.
When you look back at last year, of course, the record being disappointing.
Right.
Was there anything that disappointed you after this season, say before you went into this season, that you thought would be better, besides the record?
Well, we weren't real consistent. We didn't have a lot of depth last year. A couple of kids had not played that had played the year before that hurt us. And we weren't real deep. Like I said, once Austin Dale became comfortable out there and TJ improved also as the season went, we had a little bit more depth as far as being able to substitute. But we seemed to always play 2.5, 3 good quarters, and we just weren't able to finish the game, or we'd have a bad third quarter, or we had some games we just had bad starts. And I think those things, we just weren't consistent enough to win basketball games against the caliber competition we were playing.
Because of that lack of depth you were talking about, the big 3, we'll call it Conyon's big 3, playing a lot of minutes, do you think that it wore out on them later in the year, or were they getting tired in the fourth quarter?
I think on more a nightly basis that was the case. I'm not sure if it was necessarily the case as the year wore on, because actually, like I said, I seem to get more confidence in both TJ and Austin off the bench as the season progressed. I just think that on game nights, a lot of times, we were asking a lot of Justin Myers last year as a player to be our leading scorer and defensively and being our point guard. And same with Alex Gerdes. Those guys put a lot of time in, but it was a thing where we felt we had to do that to be competitive, and I think it was an issue for us.
And the way your schedule turned out later in the year there, I can understand why they would be tired. I mean, you had like 3, sometimes even 4 games in a week due to makeups or whatever it was.
It happens like that a lot, especially with us not having a conference. Our schedule is challenging as it is, not having a league going into last year. And like you said, we had a couple snowouts. We wound up playing, I think 4 games in a week. We had, like I said, a couple 3 games in a week, and again that conspired with our not having a lot of depth at times. It was a difficult situation.
But to your team's credit and yourself, you played Harvey, I believe, in the tournament, and you played them pretty well, despite the fact one player had almost 50 points.
Yeah, that was. I didn't realize that. I shouldn't say this as a coach. I didn't know he had that many points. They have the scores up there on the they have one of the scoreboards.
Close, right?
46. Yeah. I commented that's about as quiet a 46 as you can have. But looking back at the tape, he scored inside, he scored outside. He's only a junior. They have him back. His last name is Transau. Jamar Transau is his name. We played him this summer actually back there at the Lake Erie shootout this summer. He's a nice player. We just it's funny because I really thought that Alex Gerdes battled him tough, didn't back down. We had Myers in him at times in that game, and he just made shot after shot after shot. And like I said, we were leading in the third quarter. Well, we went down by about 10. We came back, cut it to 3 a couple times in the fourth quarter, and just didn't have the firepower to get over top.
Is your schedule out for next year?
Yes.
Do you know who some of your non-conference games are?
Yes, everything's been set. We play. We have 16 league games and 6 non-conference games. We played PV twice non-conference. We opened with Edgewood on December 1st, is a Thursday, so we still have that rivalry going on. We play Kinsman Badger, we play Grand Valley, and then we play St. John. So it's kind of unfortunate to cut out some of the teams we played against year after year. But this thing came up quick on us. We were anticipating being in a league. It was announced shortly after Christmas, and it happened fast. And so part of why we're playing PV twice, we had agreed to play them twice before that happened. We already had signed a contract with them. And I don't want to back out. PV's been very loyal to us as far as us not having a league and being willing to play us and arrange dates that were convenient for us and everything. So I don't want to do that to them. We also had already scheduled to play Kinsman Badger, which isn't a bad trip for us. That's just down Route 7. So I don't want to back out of those games. And obviously, when you want to play Edgewood, and as a Connett's partner, you want to play Edgewood.
Is that home and home or just at home?
Just one game. Yeah, PV's home and home. We're at Edgewood for the opener. We travel to Badger, then we host St. John, we host Grand Valley, and we host one of the PV games.
So that should be pretty interesting to be able to have the Edgewood Warriors on the schedule.
Yeah, it's opener. This year, the state's allowing us to start on a Thursday, as opposed to the usual Friday they always have you start on. So we're starting Thursday, December 1st. That'll be the first night of boys basketball. From what Steve Cray told me, that we're the only show in town, so it should be a big night for us.
I remember talking to you during a game, or maybe it was in here on the TV show, where you said, believe it or not, Chuck, we only have one Friday night home game.
Yeah.
Is that not going to be the case now?
No,
right?
now we have a much more consistent Tuesday, Friday schedule. I mean, we were playing Saturdays more than Fridays last year, not having a league. But the PIAA District 10 is the region that we're in, the district that we're in. They set the schedule, and yes, I think we have 4 Friday home games this year. And it's just a more consistent playing Tuesday and Friday on a much more regular basis.
With basketball just being 5 months underway, anything can happen, but who looks pretty good in the county?
Edgewood's tough. We've scrimmaged them twice this summer. We played them last night. We played them about a month ago, and they are loaded for bear. They have a nice team this year. PV's much improved. We had beaten PV in our opener last year down in their place, but they have pretty much their entire team back. Their big kid has gotten a lot better. I think it's going to be a strong year for basketball because Grand Valley also has pretty much all their players back besides Matt Larnon, who was a football player. They're going to be strong. Not sure about Lakeside, not sure about Geneva, but I know the county teams that we're playing are going to be strong this year. So I mean, Edgewood's going to have a big year in my opinion.
Now, you didn't mention Jefferson, and I know they won a lot of games.
I should have. Yes, I'm sure.
Did they lose some players?
They lost a couple, but Sam Hitchcock is one of the better players in the area, not just the county. They had a nice JV team last year. I think I should mention them. Yeah, they're going to be very solid too. We just haven't seen them. We've played PV a couple times this summer. We played Edgewood. We played St. John. We played Fairport. In addition to our shootouts, so I've kind of some familiarity with those guys. We just haven't seen Jefferson, but yeah, they're going to be a nice program too.
And you said you know a little bit about these teams you're going to play in Pennsylvania? Yeah,
Northwestern we play in the tournament every winter. Northwestern Holiday Classic, so we've seen them play some. We played them last year. I've seen Girard and Fairview a lot. I think more than half the teams we've played at some point in the time I've been at Conneaut. We've played Girard a couple times. We played Fairview a few times. I saw Seneca play last season, scouting another team that we had played from Pennsylvania. I saw Northeast play a game last year against another team that we played. Like I said, we played 4 Pennsylvania games last year. I saw Erie First Christian is in our league. I saw them at the Penn State Barons shootout. So I'm familiar with pretty much everybody over there. I don't know the details. Obviously, we'll do a lot of scouting the first part of the year, which we always do anyway. But yeah, it'll be a challenge certainly. Competitively, it's going to be a big challenge for us, especially having a young team as we do this year.
Of course, Tim, you also assist Rocco Dobrin on his football team, and of course they're going to be going into the new conference as well. What kind of a team can we expect from the football? Now they've had 3 pretty good years.
Yeah, it's interesting because we have way more tape. We have football tape on most of those teams. Like I don't have any basketball tape on these teams. It's hard to tell on video just how good they are compared to us. And also too, the teams do differ slightly. Our football conference is Fairview and Girard, Mercier's Prep, but it also includes Titusville, it includes Harbor Creek, it includes Corey, Pennsylvania. So it's a 17 league in football, so it's slight variation there. I think we're going to have a good year. Like I said, I don't have a good feel for just how good those teams are in Pennsylvania, but we're looking for big things again this year football-wise.
And the 3 Ohio teams are LeBray, Champion, and Grand Valley, I
Yes,
believe.
yes, yeah.
So looking forward to that. Now let's change and let's talk about something we haven't talked about for 52 years. Cleveland Cavaliers. You can't stop talking about them, even though it's 3 weeks from the end. Tim, I thought in Game 7, after 2 games, I had them dead 2.5 times in that 7-game series. I had them dead after 2, I had them dead after 4, half dead after 5. What were your thoughts, as you were watching the 7-game series?
After 4, I think we all thought they were dead. Certainly you can never count LeBron James out of anything. I think we've learned that, a long time ago. But it seemed like a tough, especially having game 5 and game 7 in California. I thought after game 5 there was a shot there because you figured they were going to win game 6 in their gym the way they played in game 5, and it comes down to game 7. I think a huge key to that game 7 that's been overlooked is the start of the second half. They were down 7 at halftime.
Yes.
And J.R. Smith. I'm a big J.R. Smith fan. Scored the first 8 points of the second half, and certainly I think he only had 13 or 14 for the game, but that was huge. I thought that really changed the Cavaliers' outlook in the game. It changed. You could just see the body language picked up, and they kind of put a spring back in their step, so to speak. And I thought that was a big part of the game.
I thought another big part of that game was Kevin Love, because he wasn't getting too much love in the first 6 games, but I thought he had a really good defensive stop there on Curry late in the game.
Yeah, without fouling him, that was big. That was huge. He had to move his feet and out there using his length, against a smaller, quicker guard, and absolutely.
Now, you said you had him dead after 4, but you didn't say you had him dead after 2, after getting blown out twice in Oakland. Why is that?
I think home court's huge in pro basketball. I think the size of those gyms, the number of people that are in there, just the whole atmosphere. I think it's tough even for a professional athlete to play in. So I kind of figured they would. I thought they were going to win games 3 and 4. I was surprised at how poorly they played in game 4. But that's the way the game goes.
Speaking of tough, I know some people that could not watch game 7. So I have to ask you as a coach, when you get into these pressure-packed games and it's back and forth, 2 3-point difference, every possession becomes so important. How do you keep your composure?
It's funny. I have a group of friends I text with back and forth, and I told them, I was like, this is harder watching than it is coaching or playing. It really is. It was funny. One of the things I really drew from that game 7, I was amazed at how fast it ended. I watched a lot of pro basketball, and the last 2 minutes of a game take 20 minutes. There's timeouts, there's officials reviews, there's but that ended after Irving hit the 3. It ended like that. I think that's part of why it was so emotional for fans. Was it was over because Golden State took 1 22nd timeout. There was a Bronzeville hand injury, but it ended in 2 minutes. I mean, it was almost hard to believe it really happened. I mean, they had committed the foul on purpose. There was 6.5 seconds to go, and then you're watching and you're seeing Spades from the corner as the clock ran down. They're up 4, and it was like, this thing's over. We just won a title, and it was like, I mean,
is it real?
Exactly. Like I said, normally there's timeouts, there's TV timeouts, there's these officials reviews that take 4 or 5 room. It just ended quick. That was my impression. But I was telling some people too earlier that as soon as I came in, I was on social media. I was texting some friends. I talked to my cousin on the phone. I'm kind of a Twitter guy, so I was on Twitter. And the next morning, my son woke up and wanted to watch the end of it. I taped it for him, and I got kind of emotional watching it the second time. I really hadn't absorbed the post-game stuff with Coach Lou crying and with JR and with LeBron and that. So that really got kind of emotional the next morning, more so than that night.
Yeah, I can understand that. You said something interesting in a nip and tuck game such as that was, that you feel more pressure or stressed out as a spectator than you do as a coach. So as a coach, 5 seconds to go, game's tied, you have the ball, you're not all stressed out.
Well, yeah, you're stressed out, but you feel like you're at least a little bit in control of the situation. Now, as a coach, I'm not so dumb to tell you that I feel I'm in full control, because even as coaches aren't in full control of these situations. But you feel like you can have an impact on the outcome, whereas sitting there watching it on the TV screen, you don't have any control over it. And it makes you, maybe I should say it's a different kind of nervous, But yeah, and I think too, as a fan, you're not really thinking ahead too much. As a coach, you're thinking moves in advance constantly, In that situation, boy, oh boy, if they were to hit a 3, if the Golden State would hit a 3 there, do you take a timeout? Or do you let the kids try to inbound the ball right away? What's your move? Do you want to try to sub a free throw shooter in the game? You're thinking those moves constantly. There's not a whole lot of time to sit there and be stressed out about it. Whereas when you're a fan sitting on the couch with the popcorn, it's a lot easier to be nervous.
Nobody has ever done, of course, as you know, what they did, win 3 in a row against the Golden State Warriors or against anybody in the NBA. How did they do it, Tim? How do you think they did it?
I just think they became a lot more aggressive in terms of their approach, both offensively and defensively. And it's funny, every coach in America says we want to be aggressive. That's as cliche as it gets. But LeBron James was more aggressive in terms of taking the ball to the basket. I remember texting somebody in the fourth quarter of Game 4 saying he's got to take over, and it just never really happened.
He was passing more in that
Yeah,
game,
he sure was. And even if he's getting to the basket passing the ball, that's I think half the battle. Whereas just, I mean, he just needed to take over as an NBA superstar. I thought he did that. I thought their defensive, I thought they really got to them in Game 5 on the road, because I thought Golden State really had the idea they're going to roll into Game 5, win by 15, that'd be over with. I thought the fact that the Cavs competed in the first 2.5, 3 quarters of the game really kind of got in Golden State's head a little bit. And you know, as you know, Chuck, mentally, sports or the mental part of sports is so critical. And I thought they shook their confidence in that Game 5. I really do. I don't think they ever recovered. I mean, you saw Curry out there throwing bricks up in Game 7.
You're right.
It's in his head.
Defense win it for the Cavs more so than offense?
I think it's a combination of the two. Certainly, the old adage defense wins championships back from when guys like you and I played is true. And the Cavs were one of the best defensive teams in the league, obviously, as it showed in that series. Being able to get up there and get on people and you know, take away what Curry and Thompson played pretty well in the finals, I thought, but you know, just taking those guys out of their games. But yeah, so certainly that was a thing, and I've been interested this year because certainly adding Durant is a big thing offensively for them. But you know, we'll see. Golden State's not going to have a lot of bulk on the floor, and the Cavs still, you know, maintain most of their defensive people out there that are going to be back this year. So
I'm going to make you Ty Lue right now. Some of the key moves that he made, bringing in Mo instead of Delly to back up Kyrie. What's your thoughts on that? Is that something you would have done?
Seemed like it worked out. I was shocked he put that. Was it Dhani Jones in the game too there a couple times?
And he gave them like
he did.
2.5 very good solid minutes.
Yeah,
he got 5 points.
He had an end one. He took a charge. Yeah, that's that's one of those things where those aren't just snap decisions. I'm sure they talked about that. Those guys watch tapes. I mean, I watched as much tape as I can as a high school coach. Those guys don't get to teach social studies all day, so they can. I'm sure that was a thing where they thought that for whatever reason, Mo Williams gave them a better matchup. I kind of think part of that was they were playing good enough defense without Dellavedova out there, and Dellavedova was a very good defensive player. But Mo Williams, even at his age, gave him a little more offense. I think they needed a little more offensive punch. I think that was probably what they were thinking. Mm-hmm. But certainly, and they told those guys ahead of time, hey, we're going to use you as the first guard off the bench. I'm sure that those guys, that was communicated pretty well with both Dellavedova and Mo Williams. But yeah, it certainly worked. It worked.
Mm-hmm. How big was Richard Jefferson?
Yeah, boy, he had some energy in his legs for an old guy, that's for sure. I guess 36 years old being old, but
talked him into coming back for 2 more years.
I think the fans talked him back into the parade is what it appeared. But yeah, and again, those were great moves that Lou made. That they probably get overlooked by a lot of people, but certainly maybe cutting into Kevin Love's minutes and using Jefferson some more. He started the one game that Love was out. Certainly those things worked out very well for him. I think too the way they handle the pick and roll is big in the NBA. Some teams like Golden State just flat switched the pick and roll. There were some pick and rolls that weren't even very good, screening on the ball, and they were switching everything. And I think it seemed to me that Curry wasn't defending Kyrie Irving at all very well, and they would just make a switch on the screen. And whereas the Cavs are a little more prone to maybe hedge it and try to stay if they can at times, whereas Golden State wasn't going to do that. And I think that was an important part of it too.
How impressive was Tristan Thompson?
He's always impressive. I think he's one of those guys.
He's a beast.
Gets rebounds, gets the putbacks. He showed some offense in the finals there. He had a couple of games where he made 10, 12 points. Gave him at least something of a presence down low besides LeBron. So it all came together for them. Just having, like you said, all the different pieces came together. The starting group came together. The guys off the bench provided a spark they had to have there, and it came together at the right time for us Cleveland fans. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Of course, they lost Delly now, and they lost Mozgov, gained Dunleavy. I think they were talking about getting Anderson, the Birdman, or whatever his name is called. Yeah. I don't know if they got him or not.
I think they did. I think they signed Sunday. Yeah.
So, what can they do next year if they don't make another move? Are they still destined to be an NBA final team?
I would think. I don't know if anybody in the East is going to challenge them. A lot of it's injuries too. I mean, obviously we saw they were injured. They were banged up in 2015 finals, and that had a major impact on that series. You would think. We'll see how it comes together. I haven't watched Dunleavy play a lot of basketball. He only played 30-some games last year because of back surgery.
He always hit a three against the Cavs. That I can tell you.
And he's 6'9", and that's a tall guy to shoot the three-pointer. So yeah, I would think, but we'll see how it happens. Boy, it's interesting watching how much money these guys are getting. Dellavedova and Mozgov getting, but they have to. That's the way the NBA salary structure is made nowadays. They have to pay these guys.
See, Harding just got $118 million from the Houston Rockets.
Yeah. They were saying with the luxury tax, if the Cavs would have re-signed Dellavedova, it would have cost him $40 million this year to sign him.
Wow.
So I know there's a lot of Delly fans out there, and I think a lot of him, but I like the guy, but he's not worth $40 million. even by NBA standards.
We got a couple minutes left. Tim, are you into baseball?
A little bit.
Did you watch the Indians at all?
Some.
This last week, I mean, they were rolling, as you know. They've won 14 games in a row, then dropped 6 out of the last 9. Do you think they can keep up their pace in the second half?
I'm not a baseball expert, but I think it's all about their pitching. Just looking at, I listened to the Yankees game yesterday. I was outside doing some work, and it seems like, when they pitch well, they're going to win. They don't pitch well, they're not going to win.
Plus, they had sloppy D yesterday.
Yeah, that's what they said. Yeah, so it'd be nice, boy, if we could win 2 major titles in a row. That'd be something else.
Wouldn't it be? And then
After
we
52 years of futility, that'd be.
Yeah, see if they can get one, and then I don't know about the other team. So.
Hey, the Browns will win. The Browns will win 6 this year. It'll be good enough.
6. Well, Tim, we want to thank you for coming in the middle of the summer, and I'm sure we'll talk to you again in November, December. You say the season starts December 1st?
December 1st, yeah, that's the first day you can play. I always kind of just start the season a little bit late. Last year we started out an entire week later than everybody else, probably because we have so many guys playing football and soccer. It's nice to give them a little bit of a break if we can between the seasons, because basketball is a long season. This year, the way it was set up with our Pennsylvania League, we kind of didn't have much of a choice, and Edgewood's also in a conference, so we had very few dates that were compatible. So it'll be fine. We'll be ready to go.
That's what I was going to ask. Now that you're in the Pennsylvania League, will you still be involved in the Geneva preview?
Yes.
And that's usually around Thanksgiving?
Yes, I believe it's, I'll have to check it. I believe it's Thanksgiving weekend, that Friday. Normally it is. But we're still in the Ohio tournaments and everything. It's just that we're playing our league games over in Pennsylvania.
Well, good luck to you on the upcoming football and basketball season. Like I said, we'll get you in here November, December sometime.
I'm very happy to.
Okay. Tim Tallbacka, Conneaut High School varsity boys basketball, my guest on Around the Town with Chuck, and we'll see you next week.